Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Caro, in case you don't know me. And what we do here in this channel is to share book reviews, book recommendations, some opinions also. We mostly read about women, about vulnerable groups, minorities, and some other books that are really good. So today the plan is to share with you the books I've been reading this year. It's May already. And I haven't read that much, I must admit. I haven't felt that much like reading or reading fast, and that's totally okay. Don't let anybody put pressure on you on how many books you should read. And my rhythm has been slow, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I've read what I had to read, and I have 7 books to share with you. But before we start, I want to remind you, if you like this video, if you like my content, please don't forget to click on the little bell on top of this video, subscribe to my channel or like this video, so I can get to create more content and also more people is able to see this. Also, if you like it, please feel to share to your sister, your mother, your friend, your family. I would be more than happy that if you do it, but up to you, only if you like it. Otherwise you can sit down and watch it, no problem at all. And let's start, okay? So first book I want to share with you is this one. It's called Las Malas. In Spanish, is by an Argentinian writer. The translation would be the bad ones, the bad women, something like that. It hasn't come out in English, but you should really like put it on your list, so anytime it's translated you get to read it. It's about the reality of transsexual women in, I would say, Latin America, but I don't think it's very much different in other parts of the world. So the story goes around a group of women who are transsexual women, and basically there is no other option to survive, to get money to eat, to get money to live, than work as prostitutes in the streets of Argentina, many cities in Argentina. And I think it's a really important story to be told, because we kind of know at least in Latin America, we kind of know transsexual women exist, and then you say like, yeah, okay, I respect, but you don't really, people doesn't really understand the reality and the systemic violence they face. And in this book you see it all, and it's so cruel and so raw that there's no way you can keep watching it from far, you know, like you feel this need to get involved. And there are so many things that we can all do to include and make more space for transsexual women, like transsexual women, transsexual men in our societies. It's a very rough book in the sense that they share all the violence, physical violence, mental violence, economical violence they suffer as prostitutes in the streets. And also the writer itself, she is a transsexual woman. She won a very important prize here in Mexico last year, and that's how I got to know her. But she was mentioning that, like, I am a case of success by being able to make money by writing and not to be a prostitute anymore, because she was. But I am the exception, and the system is not allowing the women I love to have the same opportunities as me. And I think that was very impactful. So I have my specific like review of this book in a specific video. I'm gonna link it, but also you can check it out in my playlist. Yeah, playlist. Sorry, my English sometimes goes away. But you can watch the full review about this book. It's really good. It's definitely nominated to be one of my favorite books of this year. So this is it. And then I have this book here that I also have a specific review of this video. It's Mieko Kawakami book, Reston X. And of course it deserves its own video. It's such a great book. Look how many bookmarks I made, because it's in many angles a really well written book, novel. It's about womanhood. It's a book in which there are no men at all. I mean, there are a couple, but they are not like the main characters. So the literature we've been used to read, in which everything is around men and there are some women there like a decoration, she's doing that, but the other way around. So the center is women. The center is womenhood problems, actually. How the female body is also subject of a lot of pressure, especially when you become older. But also how women and maternity are related. Maternity, how someone asexual, how can they get to have children, how the society is constructed for that, the ethics of reproduction, who has the right to have a child, also the intersection with poverty, the relationship of mothers and their daughters, but also this kind of tricky feeling and wound that poor people has when they grow up living in a space where they have a lot of lacks, a lot of needs that are not covered. It's so complex. It's just brilliant, really. Watch the full review, but moreover, buy it, read it, because this is such a great book, and it's so sad that it hasn't get as much as reviews and as much as reach as it should, because it's really top feminist book. I think this is the one should be in all feminist bookshelves everywhere. So definitely read it, watch the review if you're not so sure yet. Okay, then I have this book here that it's in Spanish. I read it in Spanish because the Spanish version has 2 extra essays from Mexican writers, but this is an original English published book. It's called well, I think it's close to it. Cosas que nunca hablé con mi madre means things I never talk about with my mother. I think the name in English is Things My Mother and I Never Speak, something like that. Just Google Michele Filgate and then you'll see it right away. Anyway, I'm gonna leave the information in the box. But this is also a book that sends you to therapy. That's how I classify this, and also Mieko's Kawakami book. Because these are books that while you're reading, you also get to remove things in your very inner part of your soul, and then you have to go back. At least I had to go back to therapy and talk about this with my therapist, because it's really deep stuff. So these are essays about how different people from different backgrounds, from different socioeconomic spheres, from different people in general, what's the relationship with their mother. And I think it's so rich in the way that you see how different a relation can be, and also how we as an adult have we as adults, we have to have the responsibility to solve that, to work on it, and to kind of identify what are our trouble or issues in that relationship and solve it, not necessarily with her, but with our inner self, because the role of the primary figures of affect in our lives, in our personality, in our soul are forever. So this is really good, especially impactful for me, because I think here in Mexico, even though in Mexico and in Latin America, I would dare to say, like, even though we have conflicting relationships with our mothers, it's not culturally accepted to say, I don't like my mother, I don't have a relationship with my mother, I put a limit to my mother and we don't talk anymore. Like, that's just a sin. Like, it's forbidden, you cannot do that. And I do see the cultural difference with the US, because here there are many essays about authors that for their own mental health or for their own protecting themselves for something they don't want to face right now, they decide to put a limit with their mothers, and that's also okay. So part of the richness of the book is also to show how there's not one single relationship with our mother. Each person has this very special, specific relationship, and they are all fine. Like, I think it also helps to understand if you don't have a mother, if you don't have that relationship, if your mother is violent, you are not alone. Like, there are types of relationships as the rainbow is. So really good book. Then I also have this book here. It's Circe by Madeline Miller. I know I'm very late to the party with this book, because this book was a hit a year and a half ago, probably 2 years, but I finally read it. Someone borrowed it to me because I was not so sure if I wanted to buy it. Here's the cover in Kindle, but the cover of the physical book is so beautiful as well. And the point of this book, and I have a full review about it in my channel, again, check out my playlist, or I'm gonna put you the link in the comments as well, but it's about changing the way the story is told, specifically in Greek mythology, change the boys from the men to the women, and start building more complex roles, female roles, because I think in Greek literature, it's all about men and how great they are and how they save the world, and then women are there just like basically to serve men, to either make them happy, to give them sexual pleasure, or they are completely hysterical and they are crazy and they cause a lot of problems. So that's the only kind of places where women can be. So the author Madeline Miller, she says like, okay, how do we do this? in a way that we get to understand how these women get to the place we are. Like, it's not like they're just crazy and hysterical. Like, they should have a storyline in which they become what they are, and they are more complex than just that simplistic approach, and she does it amazingly. She's also really good at building a very complex, deep, strong role of Circe in the Greek mythology, and it also has some things that I didn't love that much, but I'm not gonna get into it because then this video is gonna be super long. I'm just gonna let you watch the review. I'm gonna put the link in the box as well, but really worth book. Some things here and there that I don't love, but that's for you to check out in the other video. Here's the book. I'm gonna put the data, and the final book is this one here. I don't know if it's blurred or how to show it to the camera. I'm gonna put the data anyway in the box. But the book is Kim Jiyoung, born in 1982. I need to look at the title because I cannot retain the name. I don't know why. I should be better at it, definitely. But the author is Chon Nam-yo, and it's a book also so good. I read it in a day, also because it's a very short book, but it's definitely a book that you don't want to put down. It's a book that caused a lot of revolution in Korea. The author is Korean, and the book was published in Korea, and it caused a lot of noise because people doesn't say or complain that much about the situation of women there, and I think that's also why it's valuable. As mentioned before, what I want to do here in this space is also to share books that open our minds to realities that are not usually in our heads, like very far away. One of it is the reality of women in Asia. That's why I read Reston X by Mieko Kawakami, and also they recommend this because it was a book that was very noisy in Korea, and then it was published in English and now in Spanish. It's also very simple plot, but very strong and powerful enough already. It's the story of a woman who has the very average life for a woman in Korea, and then at some point she's not happy with it and she starts having some mental health problems. But of course, in these patriarchal societies, when we are crazy, when we are angry, they are automatically say like, yeah, you're crazy and you're angry, you're a woman, you're hysterical, that's it. And that's pretty much how the book starts. But then she starts telling her, well, she doesn't start telling, the doctor that is attending her starts telling the story since she was a girl, even before, like her mother, her grandmother, her I forgot the word, but the mother of her husband. Like, what's the story of this woman and what's her story? And then you start see the pattern of systemic violence against women. And I was reading it, and that's probably my own personality, but I was reading and I was getting upset all the time. I was getting angry all the time because there's a whole system to keep women under this like frame. If they go out, they are just crazy. And I think it's not that far away from our societies. Like, we like to think that we are so developed and that we are so much better than the others, and when you read these kind of books you realize we are not so far away from each other. Like, the rights and the conception of what the women should be is not that different in Asia, in Middle East, in Korea, in the US, in Mexico. So this is a really good book for that, to understand how women live in other parts of the world, but also to understand what are the points of connection and what are the things that we should solve together because we're all suffering from them. So that's the book. As mentioned again, I'm gonna put it in the comments, all the data and all the reviews, so you can keep watching, keep searching, and maybe you like one of them and read it. Let me know. You can also follow me on Instagram. I always say the name, but I'm sure you cannot get it because it's so complex. The Instagram name is Que Lees Caro, which is in Spanish for what are you reading, Caro? So I'm just gonna put the account on the box as well, so you can follow me if you want, and then we can keep talking there. But thanks for watching. Again, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see each other in the next video.